You look at your phone. There are 3 unread text messages from friends, a missed call from a family member, and a handful of notifications. A year ago, you would have replied immediately. You would have made the plans, showed up to the dinner, and carried the conversation. But today, looking at that glowing screen makes you feel physically nauseous. The phone feels like it weighs 100 pounds. You put it face down on the table and you walk away. You have entered a phase where you suddenly, desperately, just want to be left alone. You do not want to go out on the weekends. You do not want to maintain the group chat. You find yourself sitting in your car in the driveway for 20 minutes before walking into your own house just to savor a few extra moments of absolute, uninterrupted silence. Society has a very quick, clinical diagnosis for this behavior. They tell you that isolating yourself is a red flag. They tell you that you are depressed, that you are becoming antisocial, or that you are pushing people away because you are unhealed. Your friends send you worried texts asking if you are okay, which only makes you feel more exhausted and guilty. But what if society is completely wrong? What if your sudden desire to disappear is not a symptom of mental illness? What if it is a highly sophisticated, completely healthy biological mechanism? What if your nervous system has realized that the environment you are in is toxic and it is forcefully initiating a quarantine to save your life? Act 1. The myth of the extroverted baseline. To understand why your brain is pulling the emergency brake on your social life, we have to look at the absurd, unnatural expectations of the modern world. We live in a culture that worships extreme extroversion. We are told that success looks like a massive network, a calendar packed with social obligations, and the ability to seamlessly bounce from a corporate meeting to a happy hour to a weekend getaway. We have normalized the idea that you should be accessible to everyone, everywhere, at all times, through a device in your pocket. But your biological brain was not built for this. Evolutionary anthropologists point to Dunbar's number, which suggests that the human brain evolved to manage a maximum of about 150 stable relationships. For hundreds of thousands of years, you lived in a small tribe. You saw the same familiar faces every day. The social dynamics were predictable, slow, and manageable. Today, you are processing the emotional states, the opinions, and the tragedies of thousands of people on a weekly basis. You are managing a physical social circle, a digital social circle, and a professional social circle simultaneously. You are not depressed. You are experiencing catastrophic sensory and social overload. Your sudden desire to be alone is your brain's ancient survival mechanism kicking in. Just like your body induces a fever to burn out a physical virus, your psyche induces isolation to burn out social toxicity. It is shutting down the external inputs because the cognitive load of constantly processing other people's realities has left zero bandwidth for you to process your own. Act 2. The crushing weight of the mask. When you finally admit to yourself how tired you are, you have to ask a deeper question. Why does hanging out with your friends suddenly feel like manual labor? It is because you are not just socializing, you are performing. For years, you have likely functioned as the emotional anchor for the people around you. You are the listener. You are the problem solver. You are the one who constantly adjusts your own frequency to match the room. If someone is sad, you shrink your happiness so they feel comfortable. If someone is anxious, you project absolute calm to stabilize them. This is known in psychology as high self-monitoring or emotional labor. You are constantly scanning the environment, predicting other people's needs, and heavily filtering your own authentic reactions to ensure the social harmony of the group. This requires an absolutely staggering amount of neurological energy. When you are wearing the mask of the dependable friend, the chill partner, or the perfect employee, you are engaging in a localized form of self-betrayal. You are abandoning your own true feelings to play a character that the world expects you to play. Your sudden urge to isolate is the moment your soul finally refuses to put the mask back on. You do not want to be alone because you hate people. You want to be alone because solitude is the only environment on earth where you do not have to perform. It is the only place where you are not responsible for someone else's emotional regulation. When you close your bedroom door, the heavy, suffocating theater of social expectation finally ends, and you can just breathe. Act 3. The psychological pruning phase. As you pull away from the world, you will notice something terrifying but necessary happening to your relationships. When you stop reaching out, when you stop carrying the emotional weight of the connections, certain friendships will simply evaporate. You will realize that some people never actually loved you. They only loved the utility you provided them. They loved that you were a free therapist, a designated driver, or an audience for their endless drama. When you withdraw your energy, the parasites starve and fall off. This is not a tragedy. This is a psychological pruning phase. In neurology, there is a process called synaptic pruning. As a human brain matures, it actively destroys old, unused neural pathways to make the remaining pathways stronger and more efficient. The brain must destroy the obsolete connections to make room for a higher level of intelligence. Your social life is going through the exact same biological process. You are shedding the dead weight. The deep, heavy exhaustion you feel is the realization of how many of your relationships were built on a foundation of your own people-pleasing. Your sudden desire for isolation is your subconscious aggressively protecting your perimeter. It is forcing you into a cocoon so you can reevaluate every single person in your life and ask one ruthless question. Does this person feed my energy, or do they consume it? If you never step away from the noise, you will never hear the answer. Act 4. The alchemy of the chrysalis. We are terrified of loneliness because society frames it as a failure, but in the realms of depth psychology and ancient philosophy, prolonged isolation is not a punishment. It is an initiation. The Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung believed that true individuation, the process of becoming your authentic self, can only happen in periods of profound solitude. If you are constantly surrounded by the tribe, you are nothing more than an amalgamation of their opinions, their fears, and their expectations. You echo their thoughts and adopt their anxieties. To find out who you actually are, you must step completely outside the gravitational pull of other people's minds. Think about the biological process of a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. It does not just sprout wings. It wraps itself in a dark chrysalis, completely isolated from the outside world. And inside that cocoon, the caterpillar releases enzymes that literally dissolve its own body into a formless genetic soup. It completely destroys its old identity in the dark before it can reconstruct itself into something capable of flight. If you cut open the chrysalis early because you are afraid the caterpillar is too isolated, you kill the butterfly. Right now, you are in the chrysalis. The numbness, the desire to stay in bed, the refusal to engage in small talk. This is you dissolving the old version of yourself. The version of you that tolerated disrespect, the version of you that over-explained yourself, the version of you that shrank to make others comfortable. That version is dying. It is a messy, dark, and confusing process. You will feel lost, you will feel empty. But that emptiness is not a void. It is a cleared foundation. You are burning the old forest to the ground so that new sovereign life can finally grow. Act 5. The sovereign silence. You must completely eradicate the guilt of your absence. You owe no one an explanation for your healing. You do not need to send a long, dramatic paragraph to your friends explaining why you are taking a step back. You do not need to invent excuses about being too busy just to avoid a dinner party. You must embrace the terrifying, absolute power of the sovereign silence. When the text messages come in, let them sit. When the invitations arrive, reply with a simple, cold, unapologetic, "No, thank you, I won't be able to make it." You do not need to justify your no. Your exhaustion is the only justification you need. People will be offended. The ones who benefited from your lack of boundaries will accuse you of acting cold, changing, or being selfish. Let them be offended. Their offense is the exact proof that your isolation was necessary. Reclaim your energy. Spend your weekends in total silence. Read the books you bought years ago. Stare at the ceiling. Go for long walks without headphones, and let your nervous system finally remember what it feels like to exist without being perceived, judged, or consumed by the world. Your desire to be alone is not a weakness. It is the most powerful self-protective instinct you possess. Honor the quarantine. Lock the door. Let the old version of you dissolve in the quiet and refuse to re-emerge until you have built a version of yourself that is completely, unapologetically immune to their noise.